All right. Hello, Detroit. Happy Saturday. And thank you for tuning in to another edition of Beauty in the D, where we stream here live every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. You can catch us on all social media, including YouTube, as well as Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook. And so, of course, we never fail to deliver. We always have a great guest every Saturday. And so today we have a fabulous guest, an icon, a legend in the city of Detroit. We have Mr. Fast Freddy, who is not only a Detroit icon, but also a fashion style influencer. Fast Freddy Anderson. Thank you and welcome to the show.
Just glad to be here. Glad to be anywhere. Glad to be a Detroiter.
I know that's right.
All right.
And you look so spiffy as usual.
Thank you. My motto is the best reason to dress up because you wake up.
I know that's
I got
right.
that from my grandfather.
Really?
If it's
Well,
not matching, I'm not attaching.
I love it. And you need to spread that on to these young people too. Because I don't know how we got from, this to where we are now. But we'll get into that later. So where's your family originally from? You said you got that from your grandfather. Where is he from?
Actually, my family from Mansfield, Shreveport, Louisiana. That's
Really?
where
From
my
the
grandfather,
NOLA?
my mother, and
Okay.
mother and father were from Mansfield,
Shreveport.
Shreveport. And my grandfather was very well known. Of course, back then things wasn't good for us, but he's a very popular man, very respected man.
Yeah.
They called him TJ. His name was Thomas Jefferson Jackson.
Thomas Jefferson
That
Jackson.
was my
Okay.
grandfather's name, and he had two kids, my mom and a sister. He only had the two kids, but my mom he made sure that they were educated. My mom graduated from Grambling University. She was
All
a
right.
school teacher back in the day.
HBCU.
So I've been blessed. I'm learning more things at home than I did at school because my mother was pretty strict and
Okay.
she made sure. So a lot of stuff I give her the credit for.
Okay. So when did you guys migrate here to Detroit from
Well,
Shreveport?
my parents came here in the 40s.
Really?
My father and three of his cousins
Okay.
came here from Shreveport to Detroit.
Mhm.
And they were hardworking men.
Mhm.
So, of course, they applied for jobs. And back in the day, factory jobs were very popular.
Yeah.
And they were so excited and really hard workers. They got two factory jobs. One was days, one was afternoons.
Oh, they were real hard workers.
But they said, well, we're going to try this because we're hard workers. We want to do this to get ahead.
Mhm.
They ended up doing it for 15 years.
Wow.
Two jobs, one to another.
And that's when those factories was really paying
Real-
grown folks money.
Really, real well. Grown folks' money then was maybe $500, $600, but it's like thousands
Right.
then.
Right.
The difference was quite a difference.
Mhm.
So my father and his cousins, they worked very hard, and the wives came in. But my mother was a matriarch of all the families because she's the only educated one,
Wow. Okay.
and she helped them develop their bank accounts, buy their houses,
Mhm.
everything. She really kind of took care of all the families as far as financially and everything,
Yeah.
get them together. But unfortunately, she was the first one that passed away.
Okay.
She had some female trouble. She passed away. My mother was only 49 when she passed away.
Wow.
But she was a very special person. And my dad was too because he was a hard worker.
Okay.
So I've been blessed. I didn't know how well off we were until I was way up in being a teenager because back then, we never had to work. We got big allowances. We shopped every week. We never had to ride a bus or anything. So I didn't realize how fortunate I was as a teenager.
Okay.
But even with that, men were very strict on their sons, of course, because my sister had charge accounts. But they told me when I was 13, they cut me out because you're a man, you're going to have to get out here and work. So they cut me
Oh,
off.
so they gave you good work ethics and
I
values.
thought it was hard then, but I appreciate it now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I gotta ask, when the family migrated here from Shreveport, what side of Detroit did you guys live on? Were you an East Sider, West Sider?
No, we were in Southwest Detroit, a thing called
Southwest
Ecourse
Detroit.
River Ridge on the outskirts of Lincoln Park. And
Yeah.
it was a nice area
Yeah.
because, my parents, they had a little money, so they bought a new house, a
Okay.
brand new house. Matter of fact, we were the first one that ever lived in the house.
Okay.
But it was a smaller house, but then it was a heck of a thing for a person
new,
just to buy our house,
yeah,
a brand new house, the first one I lived in,
an African American,
and African
and
American.
outskirts
And
of Detroit.
Southwest Detroit was kind of a hidden treasure. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of people didn't know about it because they would skip over it and go to Inkster or whatever. But
Mhm.
Southwest Detroit is a triple city. River Rouge, Ecorse, and Southwest Detroit
Mhm.
was actually one entity.
Yeah.
So I was born and raised out there. So
Mhm.
good ethics, good things, good people, and then that was when family time was family time.
Yeah.
Neighbors was neighbors, neighbors was families. You
Yep.
know, so because my whole neighborhood, the block I lived on, Lisdale, the whole block took care
Oh,
of
that's
each
where you
other.
were on Liddesdale.
Liddesdale
Okay.
between Gleason and Francis, right by Otter Drive.
Yeah.
There.
Yep.
A lot of famous things happen out there. A lot of people don't know because
Mhm.
even the Temptations back in the day used to rehearse at this little bar down the street from my house called Chappie's Lounge.
Okay.
And when I was a young kid, I used to be able to see them, and they had jazz and a lot of entertainers. So many things came from Southwest Detroit that people really didn't know about.
Gotcha.
So I'm just proud to be a part of it.
All right. Well, shout out to Southwest Detroit. Yes. And the beginning of where it started for the legend Fast Freddie was in Southwest.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward. How did we get to becoming a fashion icon and a legend? Because well, you're that now, the legend, but the legend in the making. How do we get there?
I absolutely contribute that to my parents. My parents were very, very immaculate people, very
Mhm.
neat people. My mother, especially by her being the super educated one, she kept us going. And we dress. I never saw my mother in rollers. Never see her in pants. Never hair all over her head. She was always neat. Always attractive. Even my dad working two factory jobs. When he went to work, he had on a nice shirt, a nice pair of pants, changed clothes, took a shower, changed clothes, went to his other job. And on the weekends, he wore suits.
Okay.
And all my uncles, they were sharp people.
Yeah.
So I kind of got in the habit, and my mother was a professional shopper because that's all she did was shop.
When
'Cause
she
back-
wasn't teaching.
Yeah, no,
Uh-huh.
but back in the day, men didn't want their wives to work. Black
Mm.
men didn't want their wives to work.
Okay.
So my mother, he made her stop teaching.
Oh.
So her job was helping take care of our family
Yeah.
and advising the other families.
Mhm.
And so all she did was my mom, her duties were taking care of us, helping the other families, and we keeping us together. And everything we did, every weekend was a shopping spree. Every weekend. That's why I'm
Wow.
hooked on it now. Every Saturday was a shopping day. We got up, we cleaned up the house, and we went shopping. So my mother and her sister knew where every store in America was, I think.
You say you cleaned up.
Yeah, so, but they spoiled me because, at first we got something every week, but then my sister kept getting it. They made me work. So the boys in the family always had to get out and get a job.
Yeah.
So, but I was fashion conscious, and my mother was a very neat, really a sharp woman. She was really before her time.
Wow.
And she
Okay.
kept us looking good, and she got me in the market for that. And then by me working earlier, I was exposed to people that were sharp. A lot of guys.
What
especially.
kind of work did you do?
I worked in the factory just like my father and them for a while, but I got out of that because at the time, way back in the '60s, when you worked at Ford Motor Company, I worked in the iron foundry, but they would work you for 90 days and lay you off. Just before your 90 days, then they would lay you off.
Mm.
Factories would work you for 90 days and lay you off. So I got caught up in that layoff thing.
Mhm.
So probably a blessing because when I got laid off, I had to find a job. So I went downtown and I started getting into sales,
Okay.
working in clothing stores and different things like that. And I got into that, and I got exposed to different people, different times, sharper people. So that's how it happened. Then I started working in women's shoe stores, Franklin Simon, all the classier shoe stores.
Okay.
I worked at Hudson's and all the shoe stores.
Yeah.
And I was exposed to a lot of people that were really sharp. And by me being educated, being pretty sharp, I pretty well noticed that some of the ladies took me under their wing because they said, "You're a sharp guy, you need to try this out." And when I worked at B. Siegel's, the ladies from Hudson saw me and asked me to do a fashion show with some guys.
Okay.
And I had never did it before.
Mhm.
And it was so much fun for me that it worked out very well. Worked in my favor because the fashion show I did was like 6 girls and 6 guys. But the other guys were in college
Okay.
and they had to go back to school, but they were all my size. So they said, well, we want you still to do the other fashion show.
Uh-huh.
So
Where was it held?
that was in Hudson's.
It was.
In the
And so it was
main,
at Hudson's.
in
Okay.
Hudson's.
Mm.
And so I had a chance to be in the fashion show. They said, well, just do the best you
Wow.
can because these clothes your size. So I had a ball.
I bet you
cha-
did.
I had 6 or 7 outfits, and I changed in between the girls. It was just
Yeah.
it's just fun for me.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be a phenomenal. You know, they said, well, you're pretty good at it and all that stuff. So that's how it started. And it just continued. And then one thing led to another, and I was exposed to doing store fashions and different things. And, built up quite a reputation, and I can change so fast. That's where the Fast Freddy thing came in.
Ah.
One guy that I used to work for, that's how I even got on the TV thing. The TV
Okay.
thing.
The scene.
You're seeing
Mm-hmm.
the guy I was modeling clothes for on the scene when I was down there before my thing commercial came up. It was myself and 3 other guys.
Okay.
But while the kids were dancing, I was dancing on the side. They said, "Wait a minute, you having a good time? Get up there." Because LaWanda was the oldest woman on there, and sharp. So I had a suit on the same color as her dress. So we got up there.
Just so happened.
Just so happened.
Okay.
So I got up and really had a ball with it. And so many people called in and asked who I was because they thought I was one of the kids. I was much younger then.
Uh-huh.
So I got so many requests, so I started doing it. And then it got good to me. Then I said, well, I had to stop because I said, look, these are children. These are kids. These are teenagers. I was 35 years old then.
Okay.
And it came to be such a phenomenal. They made me like a coordinator with the show.
Okay.
So I was a part of the show. So I ended up
You
doing
helped choose who was going to come
I
on.
helped choose who was going to come on.
Uh-huh.
You know, generally, you don't see like a dance show like that.
Right.
Okay, doing the commercial break, the kids are kids. They're picking at each other and doing things. They had to get them straight, get them in
Yeah,
order.
yeah.
So I was like the floor manager for that. So I ended up doing it and for 10 years. And I
Wow.
was very well respected with that.
Yes.
And I built up quite a name because I had my own little dance, you know, I had my own little thing going. And so it became quite a phenomenal. So it's just one thing led to another. And I was just blessed to have worked out. But they didn't know. See, by me being 35, I used to have a group. We used to be in Motown. We used to travel. We were the opening act
Okay.
for Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes and Edwin Starr. So I did that way before.
Okay.
In between the jobs things.
Okay.
So I had quite a lot of experience. So it really grew into something phenomenal. And Detroit has made me one of the most well-known people in Detroit.
Yes, and I got to give a shout out to the city. I know you weren't born here, but you know, Detroit has a lot of swag. And when we go places and we travel, we kind of stand out. They kind of look at you like, "Where you from?"
That's
you
without
know?
a doubt. As soon as you
Yeah.
say Detroit, they know.
Yeah.
But Detroit, in the same entity, gets a lot of bad press because they
We do.
assume so much.
Mhm.
But it's much more popular and much more together city than they ever give us credit for. But It's
Absolutely.
a great place to be from. Great people are here.
Yeah.
Great things happen here, and great things are happening here. But the biggest thing we do, we just have to stick together and promote. Don't let anybody put you down. The way you beat negativity is being successful. You know, like Martin Luther King says, you stand up straight, they cannot ride your back. You beat people with success.
Beat them with success.
That's why every day, like my grandmas, they say, the best reason to dress up is because you wake up.
Mhm.
The thing where you never get a second chance to make a first impression is so true.
Yep.
A lot of things that happen to you could happen to you because you're in the right place.
Mhm.
But a lot of things that happen to you is in the wrong place. So you have to make sure that you put on blinders and look straight ahead and go through your teachings and stick to them.
And always be ready because
Alright.
the opportunities that you're talking to me about, it's not that you even went to they were sought after by you. They kind of came to you because you attracted them to you. You were just ready. So that is a good positive attitude to have.
Yeah, because like I say, my parents are truly positive.
Yeah.
My mom never drank or smoked. My dad, you know, he with the fellas, he drank a little bit, never seen him out of order. They always taught me the right way, and they always taught me the final decision to do something is yours. People can talk you into doing a lot of things, but the final decision to do
It's
is
yours.
yours.
Yeah.
And whatever you do, you can't do it in excess. Find out what your capabilities are and what level is comfortable for you. Don't go to somebody else's level trying to make them comfortable because you will fall and they want to see you fall.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do, success is sustained by just looking forward and doing positive things
I love it. And don't do anything in excess.
in excess.
Yeah.
Because like anything else, whatever you do, of course you drink or you eat, anything in excess is not good.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find out what's good for you, what your body can handle,
Yeah.
what you can handle, and what you're gonna have to suffer the consequences for.
Mm. That's deep right there. Now going back to Detroit fashion, right? You know, back in the day, we were known for that as well as entertainment. What do you remember as some of the like hottest stores to shop at for men? Well, for men and women.
Oh well, for women it was B. Siegel's, Franklin Simon,
Mhm.
Emma Holes,
Mhm.
all those stores. For men, it was the men Ben B. Burks and Cousins Clothing
Mhm.
and all the clothes stores on Broadway, like Hot Sam's.
Mhm.
Hot Sam's was very popular. There's so many stores. Men had a lot more choices. You know, Lewis the Hatter. You know,
Yeah.
all the stores for being sharp,
Mhm.
and it talked men into being sharper every day and being attractive, just like well women are. Men have to really respect women because women they go through a whole lot. I mean, makeup and
Yeah,
hair
we
and
do.
all the things they have to go through. So you have to respect that, and we get to take the more or less the shortcut. But now, fashion has brightened us up. Men used to like when I worked downtown at Franklin Simon and those women's stores.
Mhm.
You were only allowed to wear basic colors. Men were only
Really?
wearing in the Franklin Simon, B. Siegel's, those stores. Men were only wearing brown, black, brown, and blue suits.
Okay.
All those alligator shoes, all that stuff was out.
Yeah.
But as I learned, because I was in and out of the fashion thing,
Mhm.
I learned how to cheat. But I learned how to from women because when I worked in the Franklin Simon, the women's were, their clothing area was across from me. And
Okay.
these women would come out with such pretty colors. Like the
Uh-huh.
first time I seen a lady, she had on navy blue. But she had a blouse that was navy blue and lime green with flowers in it. Another lady came out had on pink and blue, and they used to have little fashion shows there. And the
Okay.
ladies would put such unique things together, gave me ideas.
With the
So
colors.
with the colors.
Yeah.
So what I learned to do, because my mother was really sharp, I would go to Hudson's,
Uh-huh.
go in the department, and find. I started out cheating with the pastel colored shirts.
Okay.
I got like pink and lavender and soft colors, and I would find handkerchiefs
Uh-huh.
to match the shirts, and I would find ties with both colors in it,
Mhm.
and I got cheating a little bit more,
And then put it with the brown
put it
suits
brown,
or the
and made it
uh-huh.
more attractive.
Yeah.
And then like this flower thing that started out early with original flowers, but they started copying. So I got all this from women,
Mhm.
and so I started doing that. So it made me much more noticeable.
Okay.
And then Cousins, that was a men's fashion store, and
Mhm.
Ben B. Burks.
Okay.
So I started sneaking the alligator shoes in, but not loud ones, you know.
Yeah.
With
Subtle.
very subtle colors. And it came to be a phenomenal, and I was pretty well noticed. And then they started putting me in these little fashion shows. It's just one thing led to another, and opened a lot of doors for me. So I
Yeah, I
got to
bet.
do a lot of opportunity between the entertaining, because you know I used to sing, I used to travel, and good parents, a lot of stuff. When you mix them all together and you put them together right, it pays off for you, and it has paid off for me.
Mhm. Clearly. How did we get to GQ?
Now that
I
was
wish you would have brought that with you
yeah,
too.
but it was that was truly a blessing for God.
Okay.
I worked at a clothing store downtown. It's called Peppers. He
Okay.
was one of the sharper. He had one of the sharper stores down there. And the guy from GQ,
Was he African American?
huh?
Was he African
The
American?
guy that did the article.
The Peppers.
No. He was-
Okay.
But the guy from GQ he was traveling with Steve Harvey and the Kings of Comedy.
Okay.
So everybody knows anything about them. Know they were sharp guys.
Yeah.
So he was traveling with them,
Uh-huh.
and he found out about how much fashion meant to black guys. and then it was, it was turned around like, pimps or players, but they started to be respected. 'Cause
Yeah.
the
It was
selections that
classy.
they made, it was
Yeah.
the class, how classy it was.
Mm-hmm.
So he traveled around with them, and each city he went to, he found out where the guys bought their clothes from
Shop.
and who was the
Mm-hmm.
sharper guys. And each place he took names of the sharper guys that
Mm-hmm.
who were given. And when he came to Detroit, he found uh, Judge Strong, different
Mm-hmm.
guys that are just popular guys with the fashion. Most of the ministers were always on that list.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys, so they had a list. And then my name came up Fast Freddie because I was on TV, so a lot of people knew me. And I was
Mm-hmm.
the only guy that brought really wearing suits to that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that when the Fast Freddie came up, the guy that wrote the article named Devin Friedman.
Okay.
The name Fast Freddie stuck in his mind. And when he ever mentioned me, somebody knew me. He says, well, this has got to be a popular guy. So
Yeah.
when he came back to Detroit, he asked to meet me. And they set it up where he could meet me. And when he met me, I was really popular then because the TV was every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of people didn't know. He didn't know all the things that I did. So he wanted to find out about me. So he came to Detroit and he hung around with me. And at the time, I was still working in the hospital. I worked in the OR too. From when I stopped selling shoes for a while, some ladies got me to a job at the hospital. I worked in the OR,
Okay.
um, setting up the rooms, getting the patients, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so he didn't know. So when he came to me, he wanted to spend the day with me. So he did. So I never forget, he was standing in the Renaissance Center. It was a hot, hot day. And, fashion was, what we do in Detroit.
Yeah.
So when I came to see him, I had on, it was a hot summer day, believe it or not. I had on orange and yellow. I had a see-through shirt with an orange undershirt, orange pants, some orange alligator shoes, orange straw hat. So I'm sure you can see me coming for a mile.
Uh-huh.
So when I came in, he was staying on the top floor at the time. So he says, I want to hang around with you. I said, fine. So we got on the elevator at the top floor of the Renaissance Center.
Uh-huh.
Every elevator door open, somebody said, hey, Freddie, how you doing? I mean, we talking 30, 40 floors.
Right.
Every floor, somebody said, hey, Freddie. He said, man, this is really weird. So by the time we got to the lobby, people were shaking my hand and, hey, Fast Freddie. Because it was
Yeah.
on TV, they saw me. They felt
Every
like they
day.
knew me.
Right. Yeah.
So at the time, Hart Plaza was having a praise fest.
Okay.
At Hart, they used to have big events at Hart Plaza.
Mm-hmm.
So I took him. I said, "We're going down to Hart Plaza," and this is the God on the truth. When we got out of my car, parked my car, went to right by the city county building.
Mm-hmm.
When we were getting ready to cross at the light, a fire truck came. The fire truck stopped. The guys got off and shook my hand.
It said, hey,
And,
Freddie.
hey, Freddie, how you doing? So I tripped him out. So when we got that calmed down, we walked across the street to Hart Plaza. The guy that was directing traffic, police officer, was a friend of mine.
Uh-huh.
Stopped to hug me while traffic was getting ready to go. Some people in the car honks and horns and say, Freddie, you're holding up traffic. This guy says, I've never met anybody like you. I've been with you about 15 minutes and all this has happened.
Uh-huh.
So we went over to Hart Plaza. This is true. We went to Hart Plaza. So many people. It was a praise fest. So people with their children, everybody knew me. So there was one lady, she had some little kids, a boy and a girl. They were twins. They were absolutely adorable. I was talking to her. And they were little kids. They must have been about 5 years old.
Uh-huh.
And they pulling on me, and I'm talking to him, and I'm patting on them in the head and trying to console them. So they were consistent. So I picked both of them up
Uh-huh.
and was holding them and talking to the mother.
Uh-huh.
And the guy was watching me talk to the lady, and she said, well, you're on TV, and we're just excited to see you. And the guy, he says, man, I have never met anybody like you. He said, how do you do this? And the kids, while I was holding them, they were taking my hat off, they were playing in my hair, they were doing all this. He said, man, you are a special person.
Yeah.
So we went around and talked to people, and everybody had something positive to say because that's like a newscaster. You know him, you feel like you know him.
Yeah.
So everybody felt like you know him. He said, well, man, we're going to take this a little farther. So that day, I was doing a fashion show for these ladies. They had
Just so happened.
just so happened.
Okay.
It was on a Sunday.
Uh-huh.
And these ladies, they had a scholarship fund. That I did a fashion show for them every year. So he says, well, I want to hang around with you. So I was so loud that day with the
With the
orange
orange.
and yellow. I said, well, I'm going to go home and change, and I'll be back. He says, fine. So I went home and I went through my conservatory. So I never forget how on this black and white hound, two sport coats, black pants, white shirt, black tie, white straw hat with a black band. So I called myself being super conservative.
Mhm.
So we went to the fashion show. But the ladies, I had been doing it to them with them for so long. I told them that I would, continue to do it because they were paying other people and wasn't paying me. I said, okay, well, I tell you what,
I was just about to go
yeah,
there too. But go
yeah.
ahead.
So, and they were flying models in, and I was in a part of it, and they wasn't paying. I said, I tell you what, I will come and participate and make sure that you things are right. So I was determined not to model, so I didn't bring any extra clothes.
So you down, right?
So he and the guy and I were sitting. He said, I just want to observe. So the fashion show was going on, and naturally, as fashion show goes, women changing and guys changing. They were slow,
Mhm.
and they had a gap. And the lady said, Freddie, I need a little help from you in the audience. Can you help us out? Just model one time for us, just to give us a little time in the back. And the guy he said, hey, man, go up there. Let me see what you got. You know, I said, man, I actually said I wasn't going to do this. But I always had a plan. So I had a plan. I figured they were gonna do this.
Mhm.
So I had on this black. I never forget I had on this black and white houndstooth sport coat, and I had a white straw hat on and a white shirt, trying to be conservative.
Mhm.
So I was really pretty good just modeling all this Michael Jackson turns, and I was going up and down, people hooping and hollering. But I had a little. I had my own little magic act. So what happened? I took a handkerchief out of my sleeve and took my tie off and tied the handkerchief around my neck to make the outfit look different.
Okay.
And then I unbuttoned my coat and I took my hat off and I threw the hat to a lady in the audience and she caught it. When she caught it, I pulled out a cap to match the houndstooth.
Stop.
The
Stop.
the crowd went crazy. They went absolutely nuts.
Now who has this? Who just has an extra handkerchief and a cap just
But
on
the plan,
deck?
because I knew they was going to,
You knew they were
I knew
gonna
it
need
was-
you.
So the guy that I was with, he says, man, you just tore them down. And then I did this little triple span, and then I had this little coat trick I used to do. I still do it. You know, you throw it up in the air and drop it on your shoulders and kick it and catch it and throw it through your legs and put it back on. And just kind of like, you know how this thing they do, like drop the mic type of thing? So when I did it was kind of like drop the mic. The people were going insane.
Wow.
And I went out and sat on across my leg. He said, man, you did that like you didn't do nothing. And the people
Just
it
came natural.
came quietly.
Uh-huh.
And so after that, the crowd just went crazy and they came in. So we worked out, the fashion show ended. He says, man, that was a heck. He said, I travel. I've never seen anything like that.
And mind you, this is all in one day. This
All
is
in one day.
starting at the top of the
Right,
rinse in,
right.
coming down, change clothes, fashion show. You
Right.
throw the hat, you do the trick.
So
I know
said-
he was blown away.
Yeah, he said, well, look, he said, I heard a lot about you, but he said, I'm going to stay. I'm calling my people right now. I'm going to stay a few days to see what's going on with you because you're too popular.
Wow.
So he didn't know at that time that I worked at the hospital.
Okay.
I was still working part-time at Riverview Hospital. I worked in the OR.
Now that goes back to your roots. Your people taught you hard work.
Yeah.
So you kept it moving.
Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
when he went to the hospital, I changed with the doctors because, you know, I worked in the OR. So the doctors, they were telling, they said, well, I told them, I said, this guy's from GQ magazine. They said, well, he's definitely got the right guy because every day I didn't suit up, but I was neat every day. And I just like now, I have a hat to go with everything.
Okay.
So the way
Just even at the hospital.
the way the doctors knew when I came in is I put my hat on the rack, my jacket, and my shoes at the bottom, and my clothes in the thing, and they knew I was here. They said, this guy, they told the guy, they said, he makes us look bad. He said, we come in looking halfway, and he comes here all sharp every day, and they really respected me. So with that, then he didn't know that I taught dance classes, just like I do now. I was teaching line dance, and I had classes at Northwest Activity Center, a few activity centers, just like I do now.
Mm-hmm.
He said, can I go with you? I said, fine. So I had about 50 people in my class at Northwest at that time. And I taught them how to line dance, just like the ones you come to sometime.
Mm-hmm.
He was just blown away. He said, man, this is incredible. He said, man, all these people do what you say, when you say it, exactly like you say it. It's incredible. He said, you got a super talent.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, everybody loves you. So then the next day they had a thing at the nightclub called Yesterdays,
Mm-hmm.
and they was having like mock elections for the sharpest people in Detroit. So I was nominated to be one of the sharpest guys coming in the club.
Mm-hmm.
So he had the people from GQ meet him there because he had told
Mm-hmm.
them about me. He said he wanted to do an article on me, so he was following me around every day, everywhere I went. So as we went to classes at night, they had this thing at Yesterday's, and he brought the whole camera crew there. They were taking pictures. It's supposed to be basically me,
Yeah.
but he had the crew come there, and then they gave me this award. They had me give me an award,
Okay.
and then they had me do dancing was my thing. So he had me and this young lady dance and everything, and all this. He was grooming it for the magazine. I had no idea.
Didn't even know. You
I
was just
didn't-
doing you.
just having fun.
Yeah.
So the article, it's one thing about being in an article, a newspaper or fashion magazine.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know exactly how it's going to come out because you don't get to proofread it. You don't know exactly what it's going to be.
Right.
So he had hung around me all these days, and all the people he met had honored me so well. He says, "I'm going to do an article on you that you would not believe."
Wow.
And I didn't take it here or there. So I'm thinking, in a magazine, I'm going to get a picture about the size of a postage stamp and maybe a little paragraph around it. Because being in a national magazine, I didn't even think about it, that it was
Right.
really going to happen.
Uh-huh.
So happened, it came out in September, my birthday. He says, this article is going to come out around your birthday.
Mm-hmm.
But he you know, everything, he was with me from days, and I'm always with
Yeah.
the jokes and stuff. And we were just talking, and you have to be careful with things you say, just like this interview. He said, Fast Freddie, man, you are really a popular guy. I said, he said, you're a celebrity. I said, I'm the poorest celebrity you'll ever meet. And the start of the article, he says, meet Fast Freddie, fashion icon from Detroit, Michigan, self-proclaimed poorest celebrity in America. That's how the article started out.
Mm-hmm.
And he had color pictures. He spent a lot of 3 or 4 days with me.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody went and took pictures. When the article came out, I had no idea. The way I found out that it was out, I went to the gas station where I go every day before I go to my class.
Uh-huh.
Arab guys went crazy. They said, man, they act like I won a Super Bowl or something. They picked me up. They said, man, you the man, you the man, you the man. I said, what the hell is wrong with you all? The magazine, the newspaper,
Mm-hmm.
they had newspaper because they had interviewed me in the newspapers and everything. They had a front page thing on the Detroit newspaper. He's the man, Fast Freddie.
Wow.
And after all this, and then right after I left them, I started getting calls on the phone. Fast Freddie, we need you to come down here because we got this magazine. And I think it was too much.
You still didn't?
I
Yeah.
hadn't grasped it. And then being in the regular newspaper,
Mm-hmm.
so I went down to the Detroit News, just like coming in here.
Mm-hmm.
100 people sitting at their desk at the news, that worked at the news station, had a magazine with me in it.
Wow.
So it was just a tremendous thing to have happened. Being at the right
Yes.
place, the right time.
With the
choices,
right attitude.
Right attitude. You know, and people loving you and you treating people right.
Yeah.
And you treat people right, it will come back to you. You treat
Absolutely.
people wrong, it'll come back to you. But
Yeah.
I've been so blessed for all that to have happened to me. You
Mm-hmm.
see, he didn't know the history. He didn't know that I danced. He didn't know that I sang.
Yeah.
He didn't know I did all those things. He found out all these things just by
Spending
being
some
with
time
me.
with you.
And he was totally impressed. And it could have came to a bigger entity because I had people calling me and everybody wanted to be my new agent. But it was too much at the time, and I
Yeah.
had kids myself. My
Yeah.
youngest son, his mom was having some problems. So I took my youngest son and his brother and his sister, kept them by myself.
Wow.
And I had one outside kid already.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't tackle all this.
Mm-hmm.
And then my youngest son, at the time, was in trouble. So he was in a stolen car with some guys, and he got caught up. And his brother was already in trouble. So I said, it's either this or leaving my kids hanging. So I said, well, this is not important. My kids are more important. I turned down contracts and everything
Wow.
to travel because I
Yeah.
came in like a supermodel.
Mhm.
But I thought it was important to deal with my kids at the time. And that was a decision I
Man,
made
shout
because
out
of
to
my
that.
parents.
You are such a
So a lot of
stand-up
people don't
guy.
know. They don't know what
Yeah.
men go through, what they. But it was a tremendous sacrifice. But then it was a tremendous thing that made me feel better, making sure my boys are all right.
Yeah.
So and it hasn't let me down because it made me a very popular person. I know
Mhm.
so many people. I don't go anywhere. I'm a stranger.
Mhm.
Everybody embraces me. I have a good time with everybody. Even being here with you is a pleasure. You know.
And I
So
thank you so much for being here. I know my dad's watching. But
yeah.
how do you find, first of all, let me ask you, when is your birthday? You said September.
September the 29th.
Okay.
My joke is that I've been 25 3 times. I've been around a while, so I am actually 78 years old now, and
Wow.
so blessed to be. I tell them I've been 25 3 times, so I'm working on my fourth time now.
Hey, come
But to
on.
feel as good as I do,
Yeah.
and to be doing the things I'm doing, and to be loved by the people that love me, and I
Mhm.
love people, and doing what I love doing,
Mhm.
because he tell them, they said, when you going to retire? I said, my retirement party is going to be held at my new job because I'm doing what I like to do. I like people. I like being dressed, and I like
Yep.
doing things. So it's just a blessing to be a Detroiter, to be alive
Mhm.
and well, and being able to do things for people and people giving it back to me.
Where do you get all this energy from, Freddie? Because even looking here, I'm going to show this to our audience. If you want to find him, you can. Freddie's Ready Are You? Scheduled Mondays and Wednesdays, 11 to 1 p.m. The Bridge Center, 9928 Grand River, Detroit, Michigan. The admission is free. You can also catch him on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Adam Butzel Recreation Complex, 10500 Linden, Detroit, Michigan. The admission is $5. And then you can catch him Wednesday evenings from 6 until 11. I didn't know he was at the Office Ultra Lounge and Grill, 20143 Livernois. The admission is free. Where you get all this energy from, Freddie?
Talk to God about it. That's who's in charge.
What kind of
Because
vitamins you taking,
even today,
man?
after I leave here, I'm doing a birthday party, DJing a birthday party for a 75-year-old lady. I do parties, I DJ, I MC, I do karaoke. I try to stay as busy as I possibly can.
That's good.
And my motto is, if it's hurting, it's working. If you got to rub it and keep it going and keep some activity going, not overdoing it,
Yeah.
but doing something. It's
Yes,
good for your mental thing. It's good for your stress relieving.
it is.
So if I can do this and pass it on to other people, that is such a reward.
And we thank you for that. We thank you for being a legend. We thank you for being an icon. We thank you for getting us out moving and shaking and grooving. And to those of you who are watching, I do go out there to Sheffield, the Bridge Center. And let me tell you, I have a nice little sweat when I'm done. He works us out. He is no joke. If you're looking to move around and get those muscles going and just learn some new dances, follow him. Come on out. Again, Mondays and Wednesdays, the Bridge Center. Tuesdays and Thursdays, Adam Butzel Recreation Complex. And then Wednesdays at the office. And then remember, he's doing ballroom and hustle. He's day and evening classes and also DJ and photo services. So you're doing photo services too.
Never know how good you look till you get your picture took. It's just a blessing. It's
And
you
you
gotta have
rap, yeah,
something.
you a poet too.
Yeah, well all this rapping stuff. My uncles, my father's brothers, were all really crazy guys, and they
Uh-huh.
passed it on to me. So it's a lot of the talent that these young men have, which is rapping stuff. It's incredible. Some of them use it
Yeah.
like not, I don't think they should use it, but it's an incredible thing, and it's truly a gift. All that rhyming and stuff I do just comes to me.
Yeah, and you do it every week, and
And
you can tell it be
when
off
I'm
the
and
top of your head.
when I'm home, I sit there and watch TV. I'm a normal person at home. I just sit back, relax, and kick back. But when I go out, all these things come to me. If it's not matching, it's not attaching. If I'm not having fun, I'm getting something else done. We're working it out.
Yeah.
So it's a blessing to be able to do it. It's just God's work, and I do appreciate being able to have this kind of fun and enjoy life like this.
Man, it's a blessing to be able to go through life and do what you really want to do and something that you're passionate about. It's just
Yeah, when you're doing what you like to do,
it's not work.
it's not work. No, it's you look forward to it.
Mhm.
So you have to kind of initiate yourself. Like, I do the best I can. I love fashion. I love people. I even now, like people ask me, why do you wear two watches? I say I wear one to keep the other one company. So if I happen to be late, because I know I'm late, because I'm on my time and God's time, and God's time is my time.
Amen. Amen. So, what kind of advice, Freddie, do you have for the young men out here? We've got, we talked about how Detroit is just like a hub for fashion, and that's what we're known for. But we've kind of gotten away from that. So, to the young men who don't know how to find their swag and put it together, what type of advice do you have for them?
I just say, it focus on positive things.
Mm-hmm.
Make yourself look better to make other people feel better. Be
Hmm.
consistent with it. Don't follow somebody else. Develop your own thing. Stick to that own thing. Make
Mm-hmm.
that work. Just like all these designers. Okay, it's a blessing to have designers, Yves Saint Laurent, and all that, but you'll never meet them. Make your fashion mean something. Make your appearance mean something.
Mm-hmm.
Make the things you say really mean something.
Mm-hmm.
Follow your own advice, the advice you give to other people. Make
Mm-hmm.
sure you're exercising that to yourself. Your family is the most important thing you ever have. Be good to your family.
That's
Make sure
right.
your family is good to you. Give respect, you will get respect. Consistency will pay off. Patience. Sometimes your patience, God is working on our patience, even when all this election stuff is going on.
Yeah.
Be patient. Whatever you develop something that's going to help you and your family and give other people inspiration. And your life will be a whole lot easier.
Mm-hmm. As far as fashion tips for both men and women, what type of fashion tips do you have? Do you like to buy off season or during season? What type of tips do you have?
I'd say off season.
Mm-hmm.
And honesty with yourself is the most important. Everything is not designed just for you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let anybody tell you that you look great in something and you really know that you don't. A friend of mine, a long time ago, a young lady I used to model with, her last name happened to be her husband named Anderson. He passed away. But we always say, if the mirror says don't do it, don't do it. The mirror
The
will not.
mirror says don't do it, don't do it. It don't
The
lie.
mirror not gonna lie to you. If you go in a clothing store, you something that's too big, and they'll pinch the back up and say it looks good on you. Ladies, if you got something that's so tight that it's hurting you and it's hurting people to look at it, there's something wrong with that. If it's uncomfortable to you, wear what's
Mm-hmm.
comfortable to you, what looks right on you. Short and revealing is not always popular.
Short and revealing is not always
Not
popular.
always popular.
Mm-hmm.
So be honest with yourself. Fellas,
Mm-hmm.
try to be neat, something being bigger, like you got on your big brother's clothes or your little brother's clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Try to make it work for you.
Mm-hmm.
Be, first of all, make sure it's clean. If you have to wash it over and over, turn it inside out.
Make sure it's
Just
clean.
neat and fashionable. What's that fashion for you? Don't let anybody else persuade you to do something that you know that does not look good on you. Be
Mm-hmm.
honest with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll work out for you. And be consistent with it, because every day you never get a second chance to make that first impression. When
That's
you go
right.
in, you don't want them to forget you.
Mm-hmm.
You want them to. You have given a good impression. So just, it's not fancy. It's well, not fancy. If it's just neat and clean and personable, on the
Mm-hmm.
right way. Just neat. You don't have to have a million things, but whatever you do, just make it look right and make it pleasable to the eye, and first of all yourself.
That's what's up. One last tip. This time go by fast. We
You
got
really
two
do.
minutes left.
Really do.
What's the best way for a man to buy a suit? And should he get it tailored before he pulls it off the rack and puts it on? What's your thoughts on the best way for a man to buy a suit?
I would say come as closest to your size as you can.
Mm-hmm.
If it has some alterations, make sure you get those alterations done. You don't want it to be too short, too tight. You want it to be best of your ability.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got fashion. They got little tricks you can do now. Okay, if you can't button up, leave it open, but leave it comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure that you are comfortable with it, and somebody else will be comfortable with it.
Okay.
So, like I said, and then it's not the expense.
Hmm.
Clothes don't make the people. People make the clothes.
That's right. People make the
Yes,
clothes.
you can say $1,000 suit and still have $100 person in it.
That's right.
Okay.
And then just sometimes how you accessorize it too.
Accessories are really the key.
Yeah.
You can take one outfit and change it around so much. Accessories, you can take shirt and a tie, some shoes, accessories. My mom taught me that accessories. You
Yeah.
can change it around 10 times with accessories.
Yep.
So you can just remember that. I always try to buy you accessorize,
Hmm.
change things around, make them accessible to you first, and then to the other people.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You have dropped so much knowledge today to me and to our audience, and I am very thankful and grateful that you took time out of your busy day and schedule to come and chat with me. But I am very thankful, very grateful. Hope we can do it again. Thank you for stopping by Beauty in the D, the #1 podcast on WJZZ. And you can catch us here every Saturday from 1 to 2. Before they count us out of here, is there anything else you want to let Detroit know about you, Mr. Fast Freddy?
That I just love people. I want people to love me. Fashion and people are my passion.
Fashion and people are your passion. Love it. Great way to go out. Thank you, Detroit, for tuning in, and we'll see you next week right here on WJZZ, the coolest station.